Welcome to Fighting Back. News talk, current events, and political commentary. Now here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
I'm not going to believe this. It's summer again.
I know, the beautiful weather.
We've had 80 degrees already.
Punxsutawney Phil came out. They said 6 more weeks of
Yeah,
winter.
6 more weeks of winter. Well, this is the kind of winter I like, except for that snow we had last week. But at any rate, I am Uncle Ronnie, and you're watching Hub Radio Fighting Back. And today we have Ray Michaels with us.
Hello, everyone.
And, of course, man, I'll tell you, this man is the most seen man in America, I think, and that's Senator Eddie Farnsworth. I was adding up all the views that you've seen of Eddie, over the times we've had him on the show. He's over 500,000 views.
I know.
Congratulations.
That's me clicking every couple of seconds.
Serving
that's
18
you're clicking.
years.
You and your kids.
Yeah, we're all sitting around computers just clicking.
Let's
on
make it
Well,
happen.
what's nice is you served 18 years in the state legislature here in Arizona, and now you're getting more views after you retire.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not looking for it. I'm just trying to.
Of course, the good thing is now nobody's throwing darts at him like when he was in the House and
Yeah,
Senate.
well, we had Representative Walt Blackman, and he said people were sending death threats.
Getting
to
some
him.
nasty grams.
I don't know how serious they are, but it's always serious, I would think.
It is.
So, at least you don't have that target on your back anymore, huh?
No, not in the same way. It's from a whole different class of people that are threatening me now.
Any rate, lots and lots of things going on here. We want to get right to this because I'll tell you, I've never seen such a hot potato in my life as this audit thing. And we did a little program earlier in which I asked the question, is the Maricopa Board of Supervisors fighting a noble cause or spewing propaganda? And I know I don't want to put you in the middle of a controversial thing, Senator, but I think they're spewing propaganda. You can address to this because we already know that the plenary responsibility is the state Senate. And it seems like on time after time, probably at least on 3 different events, the Board of Supervisors has agreed to go along with what the state Senate was asking, and then they've turned around and changed their mind.
I don't know if it's 3 times, but let me start out first by saying I'm not in the legislature any longer, as you guys know, and you've said many times. But I want to make it clear, I don't speak for the Senate, even though I'm still a little bit involved in this process. I don't speak for the Senate. I don't speak for President Fan or for Senator Warren Peterson, who's the new chair of the Judiciary Committee. So just that disclaimer up front. The issue that we've had is we've seen, recently I saw, and I'm not on social media very often, but I have been recently because of this, and I've seen a couple at least of the Board of Supervisors, the members of the Board of Supervisors that have come out and said that the Senate is moving the goalposts. And there couldn't be anything further from the truth. And what we're seeing is a county board of supervisors that has decided that depending upon what time it is in the election cycle, what time it is on that line, is what their excuse is going to be. And now they've come around and recycled. So what we have is we had a negotiation for a settlement, and they entered into that agreement, at least in spirit, and then they pulled back and said we're not going to give you any information. So that's the only time I'm aware of where they have actually said that absolutely not. 2 times. The first time they said that they weren't going to, and then they went to court. But this is a time where they agreed that they were going to give the information, and then they pulled back as soon as the request was made by the Senate.
Well, I have seen today, and this has been very, very, very disturbing, I will tell you. There's been cameras. I don't know if it's news cameras or whether they were doing this in their own with their own closed circuit cameras and feeding the news. It was very disturbing. They have people with little screwdrivers and little pliers, and they're opening up all the Dominion machines. They're actually unscrewing them and taking them apart. I don't think that anybody has really said that the machines are incorrect. The machines do what they're programmed to do. Mm-hmm. And it's not the physical machine that you would take apart and say, oh, look, it's...
Well, who ordered this? Who ordered the machines to be taken apart?
The scope of the subpoenas both the ones I issued and then were reissued by Warren Peterson. The scope of the subpoenas was for an audit of the machine, an audit of the software, an audit of the ballots, et cetera. And so I would assume that this is a part of that. So the Board of Supervisors are the ones that decided what the scope of this so-called audit was going to be. I'll be very clear. This is not a broad forensic audit like the board has claimed.
Yes.
They are simply focusing on the machines and some of the software that they're checking, plus the audit functions on the machines to make sure that they can say, you know what, the machine functioned properly. And that's basically the scope of this so-called audit. So
well, but if they
they're
were
the ones that did it.
if they were programmed to do something specific, and it did that, then you could still say, yeah, they did exactly what we asked them to do.
Correct, and I said that before on this program that
Yeah.
that the machines themselves, there could be a problem, and we need to just do a cursory look at the machines. But people are going after the Dominion machines, and I've said the machines aren't the problem. Like you said, the machines are told what to do. Now, what were they told to do? That's the problem. Now,
Yes.
there could be a glitch in the hardware. That's probably not the case, but it's possible, so let's give a look. The concern that the Senate has is that this particular audit is not broad enough. So, in the negotiations, one of the things that the Board of Supervisors wanted was that there was an EAC certified auditor. The Senate said, look, we're okay if you do an audit under the EAC. We don't have a problem with that. But never did the Senate agree that that was going to be the limited scope and that they weren't going to be able to do the audit themselves. This is the confusing part about this, and the Board of Supervisors is confusing it, that the subpoenas did not say we want the Board of Supervisors to do the audit. The subpoena said you need to provide this information and the machines so that we can do the audit.
Right.
And what they've done is essentially said, when we remember we've talked about we were in court case and then we both decided to put it aside. Both sides decided to do that, and then because the negotiations were going on, the Board of Supervisors agreed that they were going to provide the information. They even agreed that the legislature has the authority to issue the subpoenas, that the county is a political subdivision of the state, and that they would provide all the information that the Senate was requesting. So the court case was put on hold, and then as the Senate moved forward, the Board of Supervisors decided, oh, never mind, we've changed our mind, and we're going to do the audits, and you guys, we're not going to give you anything.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like a parent and a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old, maybe 17, 18 too, child, right? The parent has the supreme decision-making, but the child will come in and try to negotiate, right? You had mentioned that the Senate requested. Well, the Senate is in a position to order, just as a parent is in a position to order their underage child, right? And they're coming back and say, yes, I'm going to do it, but based on my experience and what I want to do. And basically what it comes down to is the parent has to put their foot down and say, you will do this, you will do it in this manner, and you will have it done in this amount of time. Is the Senate acting as that parent right now? Or is it walking on eggshells? Is there some other supreme overseer, for lack of a better term, that is questioning who really has the parental authority here?
No, there is not. And let me make perfectly clear, if I use the term requested, I want to make sure that we understand, because you can have a request, but that is a demand.
Right.
The subpoenas were a demand.
Right.
They're not optional. The Board of Supervisors doesn't get to legally say they're not going to adhere and fulfill the subpoenas and comply. But no, the answer to your question is the Senate is not walking on eggshells. What we have, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is that the Board of Supervisors negotiated this truce in bad faith. So if you remember the timeline, the subpoenas were issued by myself. Mm-hmm. Because we weren't in session, we could not declare contempt, which is what has to happen. Mm-hmm. And so and then the Board of Supervisors filed a lawsuit with the court. We responded, and we were in the middle of that fight, if you will, when we got past January 6th, and then the Board of Supervisors, through their attorneys, said, look, the election's over with, the Electoral College has been certified by the Congress, therefore, it's all moot and you're going to drop your case. And the Senate said, no, we're not. In fact, we've issued new subpoenas. And so that was going on when the county board, through their attorney, said, okay, we want to settle, we want to negotiate, we want to give you what you're entitled to. We entered into negotiations in good faith. Apparently, they did not.
Right.
And that negotiation led to the Senate agreeing to kind of put the lawsuit on hold, and in good faith believing that the Board of Supervisors were going to give this information and the machines, et cetera, for an audit. Not that they couldn't do their own. They can.
Right.
They're perfectly fine. The Senate has no problem with the board doing their audit. But as I said a couple of shows ago, nobody's going to trust that because of their actions. There has to be an independent organization, and that is the legislature. That is the Senate. So the Senate was moving forward saying, fine, do your audit. You can have an EAC certified. Now, let's be very clear. The EAC does not certify auditors. These are not auditors. And there's a conflict of interest because these companies are the ones that certify the Dominion machines.
So when you say they're not auditors and they're not certified auditors, what are they then?
They're certified by the EAC to certify the machines, that the machines are working properly.
So are they employees of the machine companies?
No, they contract with the machine company. So Dominion is the machine company.
Okay.
These are separate companies. They're independent, and there are two. There's SLI, and then there's Pro V&V. They are the companies that contract with Pro V&V more than SLI, is my understanding, but they contract with Dominion to certify the machine. So when they go in, there has to be a certification. They go in, look at it to make sure that the machine is working the way it's supposed to, and the
To
software
the
is
standards
doing
of Dominion or whichever company
of the
it is.
EAC. Yes.
Let me interject.
So is that a conflict of interest?
Yes.
Yes, and let
Absolutely.
me interject here. As many of you know, I have been an auditor. I have been an auditor for the Auditor General's Office of the State of Arizona, which, by the way, works for the legislature, as you know.
That is correct.
And I have been there. I've been auditing in many governmental positions. And this is not an audit, ladies and gentlemen. It's a total misnomer. They're calling it an audit. It is not an audit. I call it a review. And later on,
It's almost like a recertification, right? Because they
Yes.
certified it at the start,
Yes.
and now they're just going to recertify
That's
it.
exactly
this is
what
not
they're
an
doing.
audit
Okay.
process
Yes.
they're going through.
Okay.
That's exactly what they're doing. And again, even if it were an audit, which it is not, but even if it were an audit, they have a conflict of interest. They're the ones that certify the machines to begin with.
Yeah, and if they show that they're not operating as they certified before, they're going to look bad.
Correct.
So there's no real reason
This is remember
bring
what the
to the
title
attention
was.
of the
Remember
people.
the title of
Right.
this show, Ray,
Yeah.
is the Maricopa County Board of Supervising fighting a novel cause or spewing propaganda? The answer clearly, in my opinion, is they're spewing propaganda. This is not an audit, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to tell you this. You're going to have a homework assignment tonight, please. Your job is to call the Senate of Arizona, especially the president of the Senate, Karen Fann. And it doesn't have to be just from Maricopa. Those of you that are in other states or other counties, please do so. Call, because it's really important. Because if this is going on across the country, we need to get to the bottom of this so that we can. The veracity of this is really important. There's a lot of people that say they're not going to vote anymore.
There can only be one reason why the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors wants
Excuse
to push
me,
back so
the
much.
music's getting awfully loud, and that means that somebody must have some dinner for us. No, not really. It means we're going to be late for dinner. At any rate, you're watching Fighting Back on Hub Radio, and we're here with Ray Michaels and Senator Eddie Farnsworth, and I'm Uncle Ronnie. We'll see you on the other side. Don't go away.
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security. Call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. It is Ray Michaels from Street Talk. We are here on Trump Fridays, and I have our very, very special guest. Now, you come out here to El Capo, it's got some amazing food, but it all happens because of this man right here. This is James. He is the owner here. James, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, James, I'll tell you what, everybody loves coming here, and your pizza is spectacular.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, is it a special recipe? I got to know.
Yes, it is a special recipe. You know, everyone says that water is the big deal why you can't get good New York style pizza in Arizona. So we actually have a secret ingredient where we use beer. My family actually owns a State 48 brewery, so I actually use their beer in our dough recipe.
Well, that works out pretty good. So you have a whole family in the restaurant industry.
Yes, I do.
Now, you moved out here from New York when you were about 6 years old, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then you went to high school here, and here you are, a business owner. This is fantastic. This is the American dream. It truly is. Now, how do you think we should proceed forward in the restaurant, from a restaurant perspective?
Proceed forward. You know, I'm ready for things to go back to normal. I know things have changed a lot where everyone does feel safer with takeout. A lot of restaurants that didn't have delivery service, they're now doing delivery, curbside pickup. So it has changed the restaurant industry a lot. I know fine dining kind of got crushed a little bit. They're hurting bad. And then I noticed a lot of other fast food type chains are actually that didn't have a drive-through are looking to get drive-through. So it's been changing the shape of the restaurant industry as a whole.
Well, you know, Scottsdale, Phoenix, this is a big resort community. I mean, we're gearing up for a wonderful season. I mean, we're coming in, everybody's going to get out here, all the snowbirds are coming down. So we hope that this is so profitable for you. And we really appreciate you having us here. You host us. Your staff is incredible. It really is. And if you haven't had a chance to come out to El Capo, what's the actual address here? We're just east of Scottsdale Road on Shea. Yep. What's the address?
7366 East Shea Boulevard on 74th Street in Shea.
And you have to mention that you saw it right here on Street Talk because they're going to give you something a little bit extra. A handshake, a napkin, something like that.
When you get the VIP service.
That's right. Well, James, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget, El Capo, you got to come out. Trump Fridays happens every single Friday right here on Scottsdale Road and Shea. I'm Ray Michaels, your state Senate candidate for LD 24. This is for Street Talk. Until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Well, we got through the Medicare annual enrollment period in the fall, and we got through the holidays as well. Hi, I'm Peter Martin, Senior Planning Advisor. I hope that everyone had a wonderful holiday season. With the new year upon us, you may be wondering whether you made the right choice of Advantage plan for 2021. It's okay, not a problem. I'll conduct a complimentary review of your plan for you. And should a change be advisable, we've been given a 2021 open enrollment period within which we can still switch plans. But don't wait too long. This open enrollment period will not last forever. I look forward to hearing from you.
You are truly an amazing woman. Tell us the name of your company.
It's Jenny King, well, DBA MNR Janiking. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I have 70 employees working for me. I do commercial cleaning. If you guys need any commercial
Yeah,
cleaning.
you're here in the valley.
I'm here in the valley. I work in Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix, everywhere. And now after coronavirus and March 18, 20, I'm doing fogging and completely total disinfecting of any facility. You have an active case in your facility, call me, I'll take care of you.
So you take care of homes. It could be adult living, anything like that.
Anything that you need a total disinfecting. I have the equipment, I have the people, and whatever you need. Let's kill this virus.
All right. So what's the website?
It's marthayamas.com. Go to my website, and then you'll see everything I do and, everything about me.
All right. Spell out your last name for all of our viewing audience.
I start with my name, martha.LLAMAS.com. That's where you go.
And how do they reach you by telephone?
My phone number is 480-577-9574.
Can't give the information to the Senate, and the Senate attorneys don't believe that that's accurate. I don't believe that that's accurate. You have to remember that the Board of Supervisors oversees the running of Maricopa County, which is a political subdivision of the state.
Right.
The authority that they exercise is given by the state. So for them to say that the state is not entitled to the information that they hold is absolutely absurd on its face. But that's what they're doing. So now the legislature, the Senate, it's not the full legislature at this point, but the Senate has to make some choices. And I think that they're going to. That's my opinion. I think that you're going to see a vote for contempt at some point here in the near future. I think
that's
Now,
scheduled for Monday.
is this the full body of the Senate
It's
that
the
has
Senate,
to vote?
yes. Yes.
Okay, and is it a 50% vote? Is it a
yes,
two-thirds?
by resolution, so it's the majority.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so by resolution, and then it empowers the president at that point. It has to be, there are two things that have to happen. Has to be a vote of the full Senate. By resolution, they have to vote for contempt, and then it has to be entered into the journal. And those two things can only be done when you're in session, and that's why we didn't do anything before session started when I was still in the legislature.
I know that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people that watch the show, a lot of people that have part of the 500,000 people who have seen this and they're watching Arizona really closely. I think they're looking forward to the Senate moving forward and watching the video of the authorities going in and arresting some of these people. I think they're looking
There
forward
can be
to
no
that.
question. There's approximately, I think it was 16 states that are looking at this because they've had some irregularities. I'll just use that word, and that it doesn't mean that it's necessarily illegal. Some things do go wrong.
Correct.
It doesn't mean they're illegal.
Correct.
But
That's why you do the audit.
that's-
We talked about
that's right.
We've talked about this with
I
Waltz.
want to state that again to the audience because this is not what we're being told by this Board of Supervisors, especially Steve Gallego. And we'll go there in a minute. Audits are about compliance, ladies and gentlemen. They are not about evidence. There's no evidence needed to go into to a compliance audit.
Make sure it was done correctly.
It's just to say, was it done correctly? Now,
Right.
the thing that we may find that it wasn't done correctly. Then the next question is it because we had lax laws or was it done purposefully?
Correct. And that's one of the things that I've stated time and time again publicly is that I don't know what the outcome's going to be.
I don't think anybody
This
does.
has absolutely nothing to do with the preconceived outcome. What it has to do is, as you talked about, plenty of irregularities, plenty of concerns by many constituents, enough to say it warrants more than what we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, let's do a complete and broad audit. Now, the Board of
A real audit,
a
I
real
might say,
audit.
not
As we've established, what's going on now is not an audit.
Yes.
And the board is trying to sell it as such, and it is not. And unfortunately, that's exceptionally deceptive to their constituents. So what we have to have is a broad forensic audit. It has to be overseen by some organization other than the Board of Supervisors because there is no confidence in them any longer. The
And you don't
legislature has
audit
plenary
yourself.
authority.
I'm sorry,
Correct.
you don't audit yourself.
That
you
is
never
correct.
audit yourself.
So they can participate in answering questions, but they can't be the overseers of the audit. So that's where we are now. They have now completely rejected the subpoenas. They have said they are not going to comply. We'll see if the Senate's going to vote on contempt, and then we'll see what happens at that point. I want to make it perfectly clear, just because, Ron, you said earlier, call President Fan, and I want to make it very clear. President Fan has been a stalwart in this, and she has supported this and advocated for it the entire time. Warren Peterson is strongly supportive and an advocate of this as well. So don't call Karen Fan because you have to talk her into supporting this. She already does. If you call Karen Fan, President Karen Fan, tell her you appreciate her moving forward.
Good
right.
point. Good
That's
point,
right.
Yeah.
Senator.
That's right.
Please do that, because these people are taking a lot of political risk in doing
So what
stuff.
are some of the other senators that are instrumental in this, that are behind this 100%, that our viewers can actually call and thank and say, yes, we support this. We thank you for what you're doing. I know that Michelle Ungenta Rita, that she's been very prominent in this as well. Who are some of the other?
She's a strong supporter. I would say that, I wish I could say all the senators, but I can't. The Democrats aren't going to support this, which is unfortunate, because this is a nonpartisan issue. This has to do with election integrity.
Honesty
And we're going to
and
hear that
election output.
from John Roberts coming up here.
So I wish I could say all of them, but I do believe that all of the Republican senators are in support. So I would say call and thank each one of them. And when they vote for the contempt, we'll see what the vote count is, and then the people can say, look, it was either all 16 or there were some that didn't stand up.
I did want to, Arizona Revised Statute 411155 does provide for the penalties, and including imprisonment, I might add. That's the exact words. I'm not making the imprisonment word up instead of jail or whatever. But many things can happen. They can just get a slap on the wrist. They can be imprisoned. One person might be the one that goes to prison. And right now we have Steve Gallego is the mouthpiece, and I think that's because he's the only Democrat there, and he's a Latino, and I don't think, as being the mouthpiece, I don't think anybody's going to go after him as the sole Democrat and as a Latino, because then there's a political issue there as well, Senator.
I don't know that has anything to do with, and it's Gallardo. It's Steve Gallardo. I don't think that has anything to do with Steve Gallardo's position. What I do believe is that nobody has accused Steve Gallardo of being a genius. And he's out there making comments right now about how the Senate is in contempt of democracy, et cetera.
Oh, God.
Now, to make that argument is not only ridiculous, but it's nonsensical. When they said they want to have an audit, now they're not performing one, but they said they wanted to have an audit. They're trying to tell the people they're having an audit. And so if they're claiming that the Senate is against democracy and process, then they would be as well. But he doesn't understand that concept. So this is what's going on at the Board of Supervisors, is this nonsensical rhetoric that for some reason they believe is resonating with the people of Arizona, and I don't believe it does. I think it makes them look foolish, it makes them look disingenuous, and I think it's going to not only negatively affect Arizona, but it's going to come back to haunt them in their political futures.
Where did the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors lose their way and forget that they serve the people? When did this happen?
That's a good question. What I can tell you is that I hear the music starting, so it's probably a longer answer, but they took a real strong position that there could be no fraud without them knowing about it. They put letters out there, they refused to do audits, and when they got political blowback is when they begrudgingly said, well, we want an audit, but we can't do it because there are lawsuits out there. And I believe that was just political cover and rhetoric.
Right. It seems like they've just been trying to stretch this out as long as
now it's all
could.
political cover.
Okay, tell you what, we're going to have to end this segment, but we've got a really interesting next segment, and Senator will be here as well as John Roberts. We keep calling him John Roberts now. You started that, now I'm saying it. This guy has too many names. At any rate, we'll be going on. Don't go away, because this is really going to get exciting. Because
It will.
Because this gentleman, Brakey, is a Democrat.
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. It is Ray Michaels from Street Talk. We are here on Trump Fridays, and I have our very, very special guest. Now, you come out here to El Capo. It's got some amazing food, but it all happens because of this man right here. This is James. He is the owner here. James, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, James, I'll tell you what, everybody loves coming here, and your pizza is spectacular.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, is it a special recipe? I got to know.
Yes, it is a special recipe. You know, everyone says that water is the big deal why you can't get good New York style pizza in Arizona. So we actually have a secret ingredient where we use beer. My family actually owns a State 48 brewery, so I actually use their beer in our dough recipe.
Well, that works out pretty good. So you have a whole family in the restaurant industry.
Yes, I do.
Now, you moved out here from New York when you were about 6 years old, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then you went to high school here, and here you are, a business owner. This is fantastic. This is the American dream. It truly is. Now, how do you think we should proceed forward in the restaurant, from a restaurant perspective?
Proceed forward. You know, I'm ready for things to go back to normal. I know things have changed a lot where everyone does feel safer with takeout. A lot of restaurants that didn't have delivery service, they're now doing delivery, curbside pickup. So it has changed the restaurant industry a lot. I know fine dining kind of got crushed a little bit. They're hurting bad. And then I noticed a lot of other fast food type chains are actually that didn't have a drive-through are looking to get drive-through. So it's been changing the shape of the restaurant industry as a whole.
Well, you know, Scottsdale, Phoenix, this is a big resort community. I mean, we're gearing up for a wonderful season. I mean, we're coming in, everybody's going to get out here, all the snowbirds are coming down. So we hope that this is so profitable for you. And we really appreciate you having us here. You host us. Your staff is incredible. It really is. And if you haven't had a chance to come out to El Capo, what's the actual address here? We're just east of Scottsdale Road on Shea. Yep. What's the address?
7366 East Shea Boulevard on 74th Street in Shea.
And you have to mention that you saw it right here on Street Talk because they're going to give you something a little bit extra. A handshake, a napkin, something like that.
Definitely get the VIP service.
That's right. Well, James, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget, El Capo, you got to come out. Trump Fridays happens every single Friday right here on Scottsdale Road and Shea. I'm Ray Michaels, your state Senate candidate for LD24. This is for Street Talk. Until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Well, we got through the Medicare annual enrollment period in the fall, and we got through the holidays as well. Hi, I'm Peter Martin, Senior Planning Advisor. I hope that everyone had a wonderful holiday season. With the new year upon us, you may be wondering whether you made the right choice of Advantage plan for 2021. It's okay, not a problem. I'll conduct a complimentary review of your plan for you. And should a change be advisable, we've been given a 2021 open enrollment period within which we can still switch plans. But don't wait too long. This open enrollment period will not last forever. I look forward to hearing from you.
You are truly an amazing woman. Tell us the name of your company.
It's Janet King. Well, DBA MNR Janet King. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I have 70 employees working for me. I do commercial cleaning. If you guys need any commercial
Yeah,
cleaning.
you're here in the Valley.
I'm here in the Valley. I work in Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix, everywhere. And now, after coronavirus and March 18, 20, I'm doing fogging and completely total disinfecting of any facility. You have an active case in your facility, call me, I'll take care of you.
So you take care of homes, it could be adult living, anything like that.
Anything that you need a total disinfecting. I have the equipment, I have the people, and whatever you need. Let's kill this virus.
All right, so what's the website?
It's marthayamas.com. Go to my website, and then you'll see everything I do and, everything about me.
All right, spell out your last name for all of our viewing audience.
I start with my name, martha.LLAMAS.com. That's where you go.
And how do they reach you by telephone?
My phone number is 480-577-9574.
You're listening to Fighting Back, news talk, current events, and political commentary. Now here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
None of us are going to get
Hey, that's right. It is the host, Uncle Ronnie, and thank you for joining us. Now we got this wide screen so you can all watch, and of course we're here with Mr. Ray Michaels, Senator Eddie Farnsworth, and we have a new guest whose name is still not on the board, but I'm going to get this right. You call him John Roberts, I call him Robert John, and his actually, let's just call him Mr. Breaky.
It's John Roberts
Breaky.
Yes.
Now, John is, he's a Democrat.
Now, Senator, you and John have met before.
Years ago.
Years
Yes,
ago?
years ago.
And this was pertaining...
2006, when we were working very hard on developing the hand count audit law, which is 16602. It's not what we wanted, it's what we got. Half a loaf of bread is sometimes better than none. We
Right.
took it. We
Yeah.
learned a lot, and I thank Mr. Farnsworth, Senator Farnsworth. I thank the great Karen Johnson that we worked very closely with.
Wonderful
And,
woman.
What a wonderful.
Blast
really
from the
was.
past.
We
She
cried
is.
together because, we talked about what happened in 1998 when she was the campaign manager for Pat Buchanan and what happened there. And that was the first year we had the machines. He won the New Hampshire primary. The governor came out, called before the election was over. Congratulations, Karen. We can't wait to be at the party. John McCain wrote a letter. And he came in third. And it was the first time we had the machines. And it was before that there were conspiracy factualists like me out there, coming and telling people the real story of these machines, how the vendors are controlled. I'm so glad that you went into about the certification process. And I just want people to know that if you were in Las Vegas and you were gambling, that it would be illegal for the people who own the machines to hire their own vendor to certify. And that's what we've done in the voting machines. Sadly, the first person who ran the EAC quit the EAC. And you know what he said? And he was a reverend. He says, we know more about the machinery on Mars, taking pictures of rocks, than we know about our own voting equipment. I'm up here with these gentlemen, and we're all united because it is about making sure that we have an honest count.
And that's
I agree. It could add up perfect.
Yep.
These machines are capable of doing that.
That's the key
Right.
thing that I want to stress here, because this is the most important element in this. Honesty and integrity is not a political issue.
No,
It's
not
a
at all.
value, and we all share that value. And I'm proud to be working with John to try to resolve this matter that we can have trust in our system.
That's right, and
Correct.
we do work together because this is an important issue. My dad used to always say, Ray, integrity happens when no one is looking.
Right. But you're absolutely right, and that's why I've said I wish I could say that the entire Senate was supporting this, because it is a bipartisan issue, and the opposition, the absolute defiance to a legal subpoena is what we're seeing going on at the Board of Supervisors level. Now, we will probably see additional votes that go towards the treasurer and the recorder, because they are the custodians of the records and the machines. So we'll see how that vote goes as well. But this should be both Democrats and Republicans in the Senate voting for this.
And you know what's surprising is that people think just because you have an R in front of your name or a D in front of your name that you specifically follow these things. A vast majority of the supervisors have an R in front of
Yes,
their
they're
name, yet they're
Republicans.
not following traditional Republican values.
Right, 4 out of the 5, correct.
Yeah.
But it's obviously a bipartisan issue. The Board of Supervisors, all 5 of them have rejected the idea of complying with the valid subpoena and being open in the process.
So it's not about the R's or the D's. It's about election integrity. Or you were on the integrity, but now you call it the...
Well, I'm a transparency activist.
Well, why don't you tell
because
us,
I
first of
couldn't-
all, tell us what your organization is. We've talked about that a lot,
Okay.
but I don't think we've talked about it on this show.
I started in 2004. I fell down the rabbit hole about the election of that year. I caught some very weird things, and it led me down a rabbit hole. At first, I started off as a conspiracy theorist because it was all theory, and I learned to make this thing about facts. So I'm a conspiracy factualist. I quit the integrity part because I did realize it is politics. Sometimes it's a little bit of problem telling integrity here, and I found out that transparency is a solution, and that these black boxes, we know how to make them into a transparent box. And that's where we need to go. Voting is a secret process. And it's in our Constitution that you're entitled to a secret process. But you're not entitled to a secret count.
Good point.
Okay?
Correct.
That's the difference. When that ballot leaves your hands and drops into that box, it's mixed into the soup. And that's where we all go back and we be able to taste the flavor of that soup and get the facts. Cynicism is destroying our country. I've been saying this for years. I started my own party, okay? People stopped voting. They joined the Mark Twain Party. That's the party that believes that if voting made a difference, they wouldn't let them do it. And they made this up 100 and some years ago. I'm not making this up. Yeah. We need to prove that elections are real if we're going to cure our fabric of our
Don't
country.
pound on the table.
Now,
Makes everybody
John,
hear it.
one of the arguments that the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors said was, we don't want to divulge any information by showing you the actual ballot. Could you kind of bring that to everybody's attention on
Yes.
exactly how that works?
Okay, it's pretty simple. You're worried about maybe somebody could sell their vote because you gave the images up. You know what I tell people? If that's true, get rid of vote by mail. What stops me from coming by the back door of
I
your
would
kitchen,
agree.
paying you $50 for I could get you to sign your envelope and give me the ballot for I could fill it out? Okay? So we shouldn't be worried about it. That's a game they play. You know, we have to be able to make these elections work, that we have trust, because we got serious problems in this country. Democracy was built on 4 soapboxes, okay? 4 boxes. One is the soapbox. I'm on it right now. It's not like I'm preaching. The second box is the ballot box, where this brave man has run many times, okay? And then if that didn't work out and you felt cheated, you have the right to go to the jury box. Now, the 4th box is why we invented the first 3. The 4th box is the cartridge box. That's when we go back to playing the game of wars. And I'm powerful than you, and I'm going to win or steal it from you or whatever. We have the ballot box was designed to stop all of this, okay? To settle these things. But we have to have faith in it, and we are losing faith in our democracy, and it's a dangerous thing when that happens.
I think the original point here, and I've heard this over and over by the Board of Supervisors. I've heard it by, believe it or not, we've got a supervisor by the name of Bill Gates. And I know they're both under attack.
And he uses an Apple computer, so it's very strange.
So we got that problem, and then of course we have the former chairman and the current chairman, and then we have the sole Democrat, Steve Gallardo, and they all say we gotta keep the integrity. We cannot release the ballots because we got to protect the individual's vote. And I don't know any way that once you drop that ballot in there and it's separated
Right.
from that envelope.
And we don't want the ballots.
Tell me, first of
We
all,
want the picture of the ballots.
okay, so the ballots that they keep saying, well, we're never going to give up the ballots.
I don't want them.
You don't need
We
them.
don't need them. We need the ballot images, what you have requested, right?
Right.
Okay, they keep saying the ballots. They keep saying they've counted 4 times. They ran 4 logic and accuracy tests. All that tells you
Not
that
audits.
it's working right at this moment, the machine. But the machine is a machine. You could, on election day, you could have a time-sensitive device built into it. Says, hey, don't do your magic until this. We call it fraction magic. I was on the fraction magic team in 2014. Now the Republicans call it scorecard because of Snowden making the release he did. Hammer is the breaking-in system. Scorecard, it was developed for overseas use, and I'm sorry to tell you, the stuff has come home on us.
And it's
Maybe.
by the CIA as well.
Yeah, so tell
Yeah.
everybody a little bit about Hammer and Scorecard,
Well,
why it was developed, the specific reason, and then how did it get back to the U.S.?
You know, I don't know all those details. I just know what fraction magic is because we discovered it out of Memphis, Tennessee, where black people would go vote, and they found out they got 3/5 of a vote. Okay? And out of Memphis. And the guy who found it is a very dear friend of mine. We worked with Mimi Kennedy and Bev Harris at Black Box Voting. We went to LA, spent a couple days in a studio like we are now, and then we set it up. And I learned, well, you know what I wanted to learn, Mr. Farnsworth?
What?
I wanted to learn how to de-rig it. Because when I went into Maricopa to witness the audits, they would not commit the results before the election. And in the law that was passed in 2006 is that you had to physically commit the results, and they refused to do it. And then they took the precinct ballots over to Sheriff Joel Powell's training center. And I think now, looking back, maybe it was fraud, or maybe they were afraid of dust bunnies, because in 2014 I was in Wisconsin and we had a huge amount of overvotes, and we went to check that there was dust on the mirror. The light came down, got absorbed by the dust, and created an overvote. And we found on the same machines that Maricopa was using, they had as much as 30% overvotes, okay? In Maricopa, 2004, the election between Anton Orlik and this other guy, it was a primary, okay? There was all sorts of evil things that happened there. They had a recount, a machine recount, because Jan Brewer stopped it, and the first time Anton Orlik won by 4 votes. When the recount happened on a machine, he lost by 14. And it was only 20,000 votes, and they wound up finding 489 new votes. That was pretty horrible because the certification says that these machines are accurate within 1 mark in 250,000.
Right.
Let's go back here just a second. Most people are familiar with this, but overvote. Please define that overvote so everyone out there understands what an
Okay.
overvote is.
An overvote is that when you're supposed to make a selection on a ballot, and there's 3 people there, if you vote 1, you got to vote. If you vote 2 of them, you have an overvote. And that means there's no vote. That's what it means. Now, a precinct, if this was to happen, the machine would reject the ballot and give it back to you and say, you have an overvote, you need to get a new ballot and do it again, unless you want to accept. If you're voting by mail, you call them up and say, you know, I got my ballot, I filled it out 3 days ago, it's on my kitchen counter, and you know, I realized I didn't want to vote for that guy, he's a real fool. Okay, what do I do? Well, we don't want to mail you a ballot. What we want to do is to have you scratch out that name and put no next to it, and then fill in the next bubble, and then you go ahead and send it in. Because of the great job you guys passing electronic adjudication last year, which is a fantastic program, 11% of every ballot that comes into there is checked for write-ins. 70% is write-ins. That means you actually get your write-in recorded. Unless it's Mickey Mouse, they just put another batch. Yeah. But on the overvotes, they find that a large percentages are real votes because you've noted it. Now, it's done fairly. It's under camera. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. You're a Republican. We're sitting together.
I'm glad I convinced
And
you to
we
be
have
joining
to
us.
agree.
I thought the heavens
We have to
opened
agree
for
that
a
we
second.
know,
I wasn't sure.
3-1.
Yeah.
Now it's 4-0.
That's congratulations, yeah.
But I do believe that, you know, up until I did the hand count, I thought that they were probably one of the best election departments in the country. And then I went in and I witnessed the hand count, and I went up to Ray Venezuela and I says, Ray, I can't believe it. I sued you in 2008 and 2010 for this. And this is not an audit. You picked the batches before election day. You put a scarlet letter in every one. You have 9,600 batches, okay, of 200 ballots each, and you picked 50 before the election. Well, that means to me that I won't rob out of those 50. And you don't have any more
They're the
precincts.
untouchables.
You only have voting centers.
Those are the untouchables, those 50.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it happened. I'm saying the potential is there. That's all. I think there's a good chance, like you do, it could all add up perfect. And we need to know that because there's been too much talk. We need to verify. Elections are not any good unless they're transparent, trackable, and publicly verified. We don't want the original ballot, but we do want the right, after we check the images, to scientifically use a risk-limiting audit and take a few of the images and match it against the original ballot. Because, folks, our country needs elections that we can believe in. We want everybody to vote. We want them to know it's real. We want them to study the issues. Our country is in financial problem. We got a virus going on, and then we have a virus of maybe we're turning into tribes over this because we're in a feedback loop because of all of this new media that's playing us.
And that was the very genesis of the original subpoenas, was simply to say, we don't know. This is about integrity. And we don't, even if it came out that there were some anomalies and there were some false outcomes, that doesn't mean somebody intentionally or nefariously did anything. It means that there could be a glitch in the software. There could have been a mistake in the counting. Nobody's made any allegations, and that's one of the things that the Board of Supervisors continues to try to promulgate and create a narrative that what we're doing, and I say we loosely, but the Senate continuing this, is that somehow it says that they don't have faith in democracy. They don't have faith in the people. They don't. Absolutely bunk.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I've never said that. No one in the Senate has said that. It's simply about reinstilling confidence in the process, regardless of the outcome. And if the outcome is that there were problems, then the legislature needs to get together and fix that if it's a statutory issue. If it's just a procedural issue, then the Board of Supervisors or in this case now Richter need to fix it.
Yes.
But if there is no problem, then we have gone a long way to reinstill that confidence as you were talking about.
Right, and what we do need to do this is that ARS 625 must be fixed. That law was passed to stop me from getting the images when I filed in suit, and they tricked the House and Senate by doing a striker bill. ARS 16604B, well, that was a mess a long time ago.
And the more the Board of Supervisors doubles down, the more they are suspect of covering something up. And that is a dangerous thing in our system, is that we don't have faith in the system.
Or being very stupid.
Well, I think it's being very stupid.
Yeah.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, you have two homework assignments. One is to let the Senate know that you appreciate them. Also that we want all 16 of them, we want to hold their feet to the fire, certainly, so that they do vote properly. And then we need to recall these, the Board of Supervisors. So please, if you have an opportunity to do that, recall these gentlemen. And let's let people know that we, the people, are taking our country back, because our documents tell us it's about us and not them.
That's right. John is so passionate about this, and he's a self-described leftist as well. And I'm curious, Senator, is there anybody on the Democratic side in the Senate that says, you know what, we really should take a look at this?
I think that there probably are. The Democrats really are good at kind of corralling their people. And so I do believe that there are some senators and certainly some House members that would say, we need to have election integrity, and it's not a big deal to have an audit and to find out if this election did have integrity. There are two things that are a problem. One is, like I said, the Democrats are really good at corralling their people, so they vote as a block, as a general rule. And then the second issue is, I don't think any of the Democrats want anything to happen because they're afraid that it might show that the outcome of the election was not valid. And for them, the ends justify the means. But there are a lot of good people in the Democrat caucus that I think are like-minded in this kind of an issue. But the politics come into play.
Are any one of them strong enough to say, you know what, my constituents want this, I'm going to go with an audit.
I have not polled them, and so the best I can tell you is I have not heard, nor am I aware of any of the Democrats supporting a full audit. Now, they may support the audit, so-called audit that's going on right now, because you have Steve Gallardo that is supporting it, but it's because it's so narrowly crafted. It's not going to show anything.
Right.
And they know that, and they crafted the scope intentionally to be narrow and intentionally so that it wouldn't show anything, good or bad. It's not looking at anything that needs to be answered.
And you know, the one thing here that always bothers me about tricks like this is they assume the public is stupid, and we're not. We see through this, and we're gonna. I think all 5 of the Board of Supervisors are done politically. I don't think they've got a chance for re-election. It's just too bad they were just re-elected.
Well, unfortunately, what they're doing here is not only undermining the integrity of this process, but they're undermining the relationship with them being a political subdivision. I mean, they're essentially trying to make the argument, although not directly. You talk to them and they'll say, oh yeah, we know we're a political subdivision. We know that you have the right to do this, etc. But then when it comes down to actually supporting the statutes and supporting the idea, they won't. They are a complete defiance of a legal legislative subpoena.
So what do you think the chances of the Senate, the House getting together and really limiting some of the authority that has been given to them as a Board of Supervisors?
I think, I think that you probably won't see broad-based legislation. You'll probably see some things that dealing with election law. Because this isn't going to rewrite the statutes regarding counties, et cetera, but it is to try to reinforce the legislative authority when it comes to the elections, even though it doesn't need it. But that's the case. So I think we've already seen a lot of bills that have been dropped. How many will make it through the entire process? I really don't know. The margins are so thin. There's only a 1-vote margin in both the House and the Senate.
Right.
And then you have to have the governor that's going to sign it. We have no idea what the governor's going to do. He could have helped put this to rest a long time ago if he'd called the legislature into special session. He refused to do so. And so my personal opinion is he's complicit in this entire debacle.
Wow.
A lot of people feel
Now, you know, I wanted to bring up one other thing. It's not only Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, because, John, you have gone to many other counties here in Arizona and around the country. Maricopa just is the biggest that we have here. But,
Second largest in the United States.
Yeah, but you've gone to several other counties
Broward County,
here.
2018. I was there. I'm always somewhere in the country on a hot election. I chose Maricopa, one, because of the virus and being home, and I knew that this was a big election because I study elections and I live elections.
Right, and the original subpoena that I issued was singularly for Maricopa, even though this could apply in all of the counties. But I wanted to focus on Maricopa because it's the largest. It makes up, as I understand it, 62% of the votes are
62%.
in Maricopa. And so instead of trying to bite off 15 counties, you know, let's take the biggest one, let's see what we have, and that'll go a long way to giving us a direction on how these machines and how the process is working.
Is any other Board of Supervisors in any of the other counties as flippant in this regard to the state and their position under the state?
Well, there's always been that tension between the state and the political subdivisions, whether they're counties or cities. And so that's always existed. And obviously the cities and the counties want to have as much power and authority as they want to have. Quite honestly, the legislature is willing for them to have as much as makes sense. But unfortunately, they want to stand autonomous against the legislature oftentimes. And the legislature has a responsibility for the entire state. So it's been, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the argument that when the federal government tells us what to do, we don't like it, but we're willing to tell others. And I can't tell you how many times I've given the speech, we are not political subdivision. The state is not a political subdivision of the federal government. We actually created the federal government.
Right.
And the
totally
states,
sovereign.
The states could disband it if they wanted
Yeah,
to.
it's the United States
Correct.
of America.
The states-
Sovereign states.
The states are the sovereign, as delegated authority from the people to the states, and then the states created the federal government. But that's not the case with the counties and the cities are political subdivisions of the state.
Were created by the state.
Correct. They are two completely different animals.
Now, let me ask John a question, because I have heard this. I don't know this is true. We have 15 counties here, ladies and gentlemen, in Arizona. Each one of them has its own recorder, and I don't see any unity in terms of the voting in all of the counties. Dominion was used here in Maricopa.
Yeah.
I think it was the only county that used Dominion.
Dominion is the only county
But why
in the
don't we
state
try
of-
to
yeah,
consolidate
Maricopa.
all of the voting under one system?
Because I don't think it's a good idea. I think the county should have the right to have their equipment that they want, as long as it's properly certified and that it is auditable and it's reputable. I think that's okay. And I'm kind of glad to see that there's not one guy programming the whole state. By the way, I found that guy in Santa Cruz County. Okay, that one guy who was programming 12 out of the 15 counties in 2014, and he was loading the databases through the phone modems, and he would say, if it breaks down, just call me, I'll come in and fix it. And we don't know if he was a man in the middle, a
Right.
kingpin.
Right.
I mean, my God, this is incredible. If the thing breaks down, don't worry, I'll come in and fix it to the phone modem that receives the results.
Yeah.
We found him because he was building the databases across the whole state. And then when he got to the counties, he would fork the database, and Santa Cruz is an S. And I'm looking, wow, look at this list.
Yeah.
And we found him once before in Pima County, and for 14 years of my career, I thought that everybody programmed their own system. Only Maricopa and Pima did it, and really Maricopa didn't. And when I sued them in 2016, we found out the Sequoia guy was wired into the central computer because my partner took a pair of binoculars and found it. And then we took him to court, and the guy said, yeah, and he found a secret encoder on his desk. He's programming Cook County, Chicago, okay? And
Cook
running
County?
that through the internet too. And this is all illegal stuff. And you know, Senator, I want you to know, I don't know how many states I go into, and they say we're never connected to the internet, but they're using VPN. That's the virtual private network.
Right.
I call it the insiders network.
Right.
Ooh,
It's crazy.
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm passionate because this is my country too.
So what do we
I'm
look
a
for? What
grandfather,
do we
and
look
I got
for?
6 grandkids.
What do we look for Monday? That's when the Senate's supposed to vote.
Well, I think what you're going to see is probably some debate that's going to go on the Senate floor. Now, remember, this is only the Senate. This is not the House, because the subpoenas were issued by the Senate. So the Senate has to vote, and you will see a full vote, a robust debate, and then the outcome, I think, will be a declaration of contempt, but we'll have to wait and see.
Do you need the governor to
No,
approve that?
this is by resolution. You don't need the House, you don't need the governor. It's just by a majority of the Senate.
Okay, well, I hear the music playing, so
Yeah.
I wanted to say a couple of
So
things.
support-
One,
yeah, support
welcome
your
back,
senator.
Neil is back and healthy.
and
He's
you need a
lost-
haircut.
He needs a
Welcome back,
haircut.
Neil.
He's lost a lot of weight. Mr. O'Connor, we thank you. You got, we're excited about what's going on here. And what we're going to ask you to do is, once again, we'd like you to call the Senate, thank them, or if you want, just tell them you're still hanging tough and you expect them to hang tough. And I have never seen this state of affairs where there are so many people this angry. So go out there and sign this petition to get rid of our Board of Supervisors. They've earned it. So we'll see you Monday night, and we're hoping we're going to be able to report on what went on during the Senate, and we're hoping we have a good vote that is going to move this thing forward, because it needs to be. So good night, and thank you for watching. And for Hub Radio, this is Ron Lutters. Good night.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, John.
Thank you for having
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here with the senator.
Yes.
Likewise.